we are actually gonna put on the app a few more functionalities, as I said. So we'll start with field dependency. So today we are actually going to talk about a few more additional functionalities on the app. So field dependency is one thing. What is a field dependency? Field dependency basically, as the name says, it's basically making one field dependent on the other field. Okay, and where will we need this? We need this if we have a field and I have another field, and this field is dependent on this one. Okay, an example can be, for example, an address. You have a country and a city. Right. Now, if you have got 5 countries and 20 cities, then you don't want your end user to view the complete list of 20 cities here in this. Let's say these are both pick list. Okay, so in the city, you don't want your end user to see complete list of 20 cities. You would want your end user to only see the cities of the selected country. So you can make the city field dependent on the country, so that the country needs to be selected first. Based on the country, cities will be available. Got it? So that helps your end users in 2 ways. One, you are actually ensuring that the end user gets to see lesser option and does not get confused, does not take too much of time to select the option. Secondly, you are also kind of minimizing the scope of error, because if there are all the cities available, there is a possibility that I end up selecting a wrong city. But if there are lesser numbers, I'm going to select the right one. Got it? So it is actually going to help in 2 ways. All right. So now, how is this created? Let's go and do this. So for this, I'm actually going to use the client object. We'll create a country and city field on the client object. We already have a client object there. So we will use that. Give me one quick moment. I'll log in into Salesforce. So on the client object, let's have country and city, and we are gonna set up the field dependency for that, right? Okay, I think there was a question related to this pick list thing in the last session. Right? So how do we create a pick list field? So to create a pick list field, you choose the pick list field here. Here you go and supply the value for the pick list options. Right? Let's say there are 2 options, India and US. Okay. Make it visible, go to next. I need one more, which is going to be city, right? So pick list. Enter the values. Okay, so let's say we have got Bangalore. We have got SF. Okay. Fine. So I've got country and I've got city. If you look into this, as of now, we have not set up the field dependency. So if you look into this now, you will select a country and then you will select a city. All right. So as of now, the dependency is not set up. So no matter which country you select, you get to see all the cities. Now here I still just have 4 options. Think about it. If I have got let's say 5 countries or 6 countries listed here, and I've got at least 7 to 8 cities from each country, it will be 40, 50 options here in the city. So you don't want your end user to actually go through that. So to make life easier for the end users and to ensure that we are minimizing the scope of error, we just need to make city dependent on the country, so that when I select India, only the Indian cities should be available. When I select US, only the US cities should be available here. All right. How do we define this? To define this, you just have to go to the client object where you create the fields, where you create the custom fields. Here exactly, where you click on the new custom field button, just beside that there is this field dependency option. Click on this. Define a new field dependency. Choose your controlling and the dependent field. Country is the controlling field, city is the dependent field, right? And click on continue. Okay, it will take you to this UI. You have all the controlling field options available here, and the dependent options are available here. So you just have to choose which all options should be available under which controlling field option. So like for India, I want these two options. You can actually select multiple values using control plus click. This is mentioned here itself. Shift plus click can be used for selecting a range. Control click can be used for selecting multiple values. Okay. So select the values that you want to include. Okay, and finally click on include values. Okay, so this refers included value. Right, so these two values have been included under India. These two values have been included under US. Now click on save. Now let me go and create the record. See. Now you're not even able to select a city without selecting a country, because it is dependent on the country. So first of all, you'll have to select the country, then only city option is going to be available. Let me select India. Yeah, only Indian cities. Select US, only US cities. See that? So that's how the field dependency is going to work. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is an auto number. Okay, now what is an auto number? Auto number is basically a number, which will be automatically generated. So that's one concept of it. Now, where do you need auto number? That's the more important thing. So auto number is basically, you can actually have an automatic number generated for each of your record. Every time the record is getting created, you can generate a number for it. All right. Now, is this something which we are going to use for the ID or something? No. Salesforce has got a separate field for ID. The other day, I think I was telling you about this. So it's not exactly for the ID. However, it can be used as an identifier, because these values are also going to be unique. So every record will get a unique number, which will be an increment of the previous record. Okay, so that is the thing. Now, where do we use it? So to understand the use of it, let's take this scenario. Let's go back to this. Okay. In the last session, we created an object called assignment, right? Click on new assignment here. It asks you for an assignment name, right? Now, putting an assignment name here is actually going to be a difficult thing for the end user, because assignment does not have any name as such, right? It's not like it's not something where there is a defined name. So you have to think of a name and you have to put it yourself, right? So the user will have to basically think of a name and put that name, right? Now, while the user is actually thinking of a name and putting it, one, it is taking a bit of time for him to think about a name and put. Now, then there are chances that the user ends up entering the duplicate name. There can be multiple assignments for which you have entered the same name, right? So that is a challenge. So these kind of records where putting a name where it does not have its own name, and where putting a name can be a difficult thing. Think of the name, put it, and then too there are chances that it can be a duplicate. And if you see this is a required field actually. So I cannot do anything about it. I mean, I cannot leave it blank also. So don't you think it's going to be a challenge for the end user to think of a name and then put that name every time? So instead of using a text field here, I can use an auto number. If you use an auto number is something which will be automatically generated. That's the first advantage. So I don't have to sit and think about what should I put. So that saves me a bit of time. Secondly, it is automatically takes an increment from the previous record, which means it's not going to be a duplicate as well, right? So it will automatically make an increment to the previous record, so which means it is not going to be duplicate. So both the ways it's going to help, right? Okay. So these kind of scenarios, these kind of records where you feel that it's going to be difficult for you to put a name, because a name field is required in all the objects. That's what we have seen. When you create a custom object, by default Salesforce creates a standard field called name, and that's a required field. You cannot delete this field, you cannot remove this field, you cannot do anything about this field. This field has to be there. So if it's if the object is such that the records do not have any defined name, then an auto number should be fine for it. All right. So let's go and change this field to auto number. So it's a standard field. Whenever we are talking about standard field, you have to be you'll have to be careful with the standard field, because standard fields do not give you all the options. All the edit options are not available, so you'll have to see whether there's a possibility to make changes on the standard field or not. So let's go and see if there is a possibility of making any changes on that particular standard field. Assignment. Okay. Assignment name, click on edit. Okay, data type, it allows you to change the data type. Yeah, so that's a good thing. But there are only two options. So the standard name field can either be a text or auto number. You cannot change it to anything else. You cannot make it a pick list or other things. This standard name field, it should be either text or auto number. So that's fine. I just needed an auto number. You might want to change the label as well. Instead of assignment name, now you might want to call it an assignment number. Okay. Now let's define the attributes of the auto number. So auto number, when you're defining, you will have to have a display format, and you will need to define a start number. Start number can be 1 to whatever. So from whichever number you want to start. So let's put it as 1. And what is the display format? Display format is what, how do you want your auto number to be displayed, or what exactly you want the auto number to have. Okay. So your auto number can have a static part and a dynamic part. For example, the numbering sequence that I want to use is this: assignment /2017/001. Okay, let's say this is what I want to use. So out of this is static, this is dynamic. Okay. So the static part you just need to type in. The dynamic part needs to be put within curly brackets. You just need to put 0, 0, 0 there. All right. So the static part you just need to put in like this. Dynamic part needs to be included inside the curly brackets, and you don't have to put a number here, you just have to put zeros here. Okay, so that's exactly, you can see here as well in the display format. Right from here also you can understand. So let me copy this and use this. Okay, So the new display format will only be applied to new records. Existing records will remain unchanged. So that's another thing. So when you are actually putting an auto number, so auto number automatically does not go and change the previous records. The records which have been created have been created. So we cannot do anything about those. It is only going to apply on the new records when they get created. All right. All right. So starts from 1. This is the format. Click on save. Now when you go to a project and you try to create an assignment, it's not asking me for assignment name because it's automatically going to generate a number for that. So I don't have to worry. Okay, so I've created a few records here. 3 records I have got created. Let's go and see those records. See, assignment number got generated automatically 001, 002, 003. Correct? So you are not required to type in the value and all that stuff. You don't need to think about, what did you enter last time and all. Auto number will automatically take care of it. Right? Simple. Okay. Now, the next thing that we're going to talk about is, so this auto number field, one is you can definitely change the name field to the auto number that we just did. Apart from that, you can define your own auto numbers as well, right? In case you want to define, you can actually create a custom auto number field as well. So there's an option available. If you go to anything. Okay, here if you see, if you click on new, you have the option of creating an auto number field here also. So you can actually select an auto number and go and create that particular field. The same thing, same display format, starting number and all that stuff. Okay, here you have the option of generating auto numbers for existing records. For the standard field, it does not work that way, but for the custom field, you will have the option of creating auto numbers for the existing records or generating the auto numbers for existing record. So the reason is that, see, that was an existing field, we were actually making change on that. So for that field, the existing records already had the values. So that was the difference. Here it is a new field being created. So here if you say that generate new values for the new for existing records, that's fine because it's a new field. Okay, already there are no values existing for it. So for that reason, here it is possible when you're creating a custom field. But for a standard field, the field is already there, the values are already there. So for that reason, it does not go and change that. All right. So ideally, if you, if you have this thing, you have a scenario that you have been using the name field as text so far, and you already have 1000 records. Okay. Now you decide to change to auto number. Okay. So ideally, what will happen here? The 1000 existing records, it's not going to change. I'm talking about the standard name field. So the value for the 1000 existing records will not be changed by the auto number. Auto number will only apply to the records which will get created now onwards. So in that case, what you might want to do is, sometime you might want to update these values before creating the auto number or before implementing the auto number. You can actually update these values with similar kind of values like the auto number ones. You can update those and then implement the auto number in case you want that. All right. Okay. Now the next thing that we will be talking about is the roll-up summary. So roll-up summary is something which we discussed a little in the last session. We are going to continue to discuss further on that. So it's only available in master detail. That's what we discussed. Now let's see the use of it. Okay, so I've got clients and projects. Okay, Now in the client, I basically want number of projects and total budget. The cost. Okay, these are two fields I want on the client. Now, number of projects is can be a roll-up summary. This can be a roll-up summary, so we can actually get a count of the number of projects and put it here. Total budget can also be a roll-up summary. So for every project there is a budget, and then we can actually have a total budget thing calculated here. Okay, with the roll-up summary. So roll-up summary field can actually do a summary from the child records and put it in the parent. So roll-up summary field is always going to be on the parent actually, right? You try to summarize the child records in the parent record. That is the roll-up summary field. Okay, so before I create a roll-up summary field, is there a prerequisite for a roll-up summary field? Is there some condition that has to be true before you can create a roll-up summary? Yeah, there is. What is that condition? The relationship has to be lookup or master detail. Relationship has to be master detail. It will not work with a lookup relationship. Okay, let's go and try to create this roll-up summary field, number of projects on the client object. Let's try to create this. So the client object, I'm trying to create this roll-up summary field. We have this option roll-up summary, but this is not activated here. What can be the reason? Why is this field not active? You should be able to create that, right? Because we don't have the master detail relationship. Because this object is related to another object through a lookup relationship. It is not having a master detail relationship. So that's the reason why we don't see that particular thing here. All right. Now where's the relationship field here? I don't see the relationship field. Do you see the relationship? We are talking about lookup, master detail, and all that stuff. Where's the relationship field here? This is parent or child? This is the parent. Will we have the relationship field on the parent? No, it's on the child object, right? So please don't try to search the relationship field on the client object. It should be on the child, which is the project. So on the project, you should have the relationship field. Yes, we have. It's a lookup relationship. I have to change it to the master detail. Okay, let me go and try to change this. Edit, change field type, change it to master detail, go to next. Okay, throws an error. This error is because you still have child records which are not associated with parents. Okay, you cannot create a new master detail relationship on an existing custom object if records already exist. Okay, so though it says record already exists, that is not the challenge. The challenge is the records are there which are not associated to the parent. Okay, so in case you have got existing records, you must first create a lookup relationship, populate the lookup field with the data and all records, and then change the relationship type to master detail, right? So Um, what you exactly need to do is you need to ensure that you do not have any such records in this child in the project which are not associated to the client. Alright, so you have to search for those records, you will have to associate them to the client, and then only you will be able to change from the lookup to master detail. So go to projects. I think this is the record. I just have two records, so that's easy. One record is associated with the client, the other one is not associated with the client. So let me, yeah, this does not have a client. So let me connect it to the client. So now all the records are associated to the client. Can you all hear me clearly? Is there some issue with the sound? My voice clear? Okay, fine. Okay, all right, thank you. So, yeah, coming back to this. So now I have all the records in the projects associated to some client, right? So now there should not be a problem while I try to change it from lookup to master detail. Let me try to do that. Click on edit, change field type to the master detail, go next. Yeah, now it could change the lookup to master detail. Okay. Okay. So when it has become a master detail, if I go to the projects and look at any of the project record, see that owner field which was here is not there anymore, because I told you it will not have its individual owner. By default, the owner of the project client will become the owner of these records as well. Got it? So that owner field is not there anymore. Okay. And also, if you notice here, see, when we created this project object in the, while we were creating this, when we create a custom object, I told you that there will be 4 standard fields which get created, right? Including the owner field. Now there are only 3 standard fields. Okay, owner field has been removed automatically. Fine. Okay. Now let's move on to creating the roll-up summary field. Now I should be able to create the roll-up summary field because now I've got the master detail relationship. So go to your client object and try to create the roll-up summary field. Let's see if we can create it now. Click on new. Yes, now the roll-up summary option is available. Go to next. Number of projects. Okay. Which object you want to summarize? Project. What do you want to do? I just want to do a count. You have other options. You have sum, minimum, maximum. So these options are available. I just want to do a count. Okay. So when you try to put this roll-up summary and you say that, okay, do a count or sum or min or max, whatever, you have an option to choose this. Do you want to include all the records or you just want to include some records which meet certain criteria? Okay. So like in this case, I am talking about total number of projects. I can also have number of completed projects here. Okay. So now this number of completed projects should only consider the projects where the status is equal to completed. Right. So in that case, you would have used a criteria. In this case, I just want to include all the projects. So in case you want to use a criteria, you can actually choose that from here, only records. Then you should select the second option, only records which meet a certain criteria. In this case, I need all the records, so that's fine. I do a count of all the records, go to next. And make it visible, go to next. Finally, click on save. All right. Okay. So this is kind of done. Now, if I go to the clients, if I go to a particular client, I'll get to see number of projects. See, there is only one project that shows you the count. See. If you go to this client, it shows you the count of the projects. 2. What are the number of projects? Same way we can actually do a total of budget as well. So for every project there will be budget or cost, whatever. We can do a total of the budget here. Right. Then I can have total of completed projects. So these kind of fields we can easily create using roll-up summary. So this is a easy way of doing this. This roll-up summary field is basically an easy option available to summarize the data from the child and put it in the parent. Right? However, this is only available with master detail. In case you have a requirement that you have a lookup relationship and still you want to do a roll-up summary kind of a thing, then roll-up summary field will not work. Then you will have to write logics and all that stuff. So that's something which we will learn later on when we start talking about customizing logics and all. Right. However, with this field type, roll-up summary field type, it's pretty easy, right? So you don't have to write any logic or you don't have to spend any time. You can easily get this done. But the requirement is master detail. So if you are okay with the master detail relationship, you will get it easily. Right. Okay. Now another thing that we are going to talk about is a lookup filter. What's a lookup filter? Lookup filter is basically putting a filter on your lookup. So lookup we understand. No? You pick this. This is the lookup, right? When you are actually taking, selecting the record using this lookup icon. Okay. Now lookup filter is basically putting a filter here on the lookup. Why do we need that? Let's understand that. Then we'll understand, how to do that. So going back to this. Yeah. So for project, I create assignments, and for assignment I need to pick employees, right? Who will be working on that particular assignment, right? So for every assignment, there's an employee who is actually going to be working on that particular assignment. Okay. So now when you go to this lookup icon, think about it. If you have got 500 employees, this lookup will give you that option to choose from 500 employees. You can also have 1000 employees, right? Don't you think it's going to become a little difficult for you to basically choose from that big list, right? So the end user is actually going to get confused between so many employees, right? So it will be good if there is some sort of filter which can be put on the records that can be selected. All right. So if you have that kind of a criteria, you can actually put that sort of filter here, so that you get to select from a lesser number of records, not from the entire object, right? So that's called the lookup filter. In case we have a criteria, some cases you will not have a criteria for that. In that case, you cannot do anything. But in case we have got that kind of a criteria, we can do that. So let's think about, let's go back to this scenario and try and understand this. Let's say for employee, there is a field called skill. Okay. And for assignment also, there's a field called skill. The skill can be basically, the technology basically. Okay. So let's say this can be a Java or HTML or PHP. Okay, let's say there's a pick list, Java, HTML, PHP. This is available for the employee as well. Okay, so now what you want to do is, whenever we are creating an assignment, you want, if the assignment is of Java, you just want the employees who have got the skill Java, those should be available in the lookup. Okay, that's what we want to do. So that's where lookup filter will come into picture. So first of all, let's create this field, the skill field. I'll create it both on the employee and assignment object, and then we will try to control the lookup using this particular skill field. All right. So what we're going to do here is, first of all, we will create this field onto these objects. So I'll make it a pick list. Okay. Now same kind of field I need for the other object as well, which is the assignment object. Right. Okay. Now I've got the employees. Let me put a skill to every employee. Say Java. HTML. PHP. Java. Right. So that is it. Right. So we have got these employees, and every employee has got particular skill. Now what I want to do here is, when I'm creating an assignment, when I create a new assignment, if I select Java, I try to select an employee, it should only show me the employees who have got the Java as skill. Now it's showing me all the employees, right? This is what we do not want, right? As I said, there can be more. Right now we just have 4-5 records, it's absolutely fine. But you can have more records, right? You can have 200, 300 employees. So with that, there will be a bit of challenge, right? So you just need to choose from the employees who are having the same skill which is required for that particular assignment. Okay, so that's where the lookup filter will come into picture. So lookup filter actually needs to be applied on the lookup field. You just have to go to this field, and that's where you have to put the lookup filter. So I'll just go to this field. This is on the assignment object, so just go to setup, employee field. It's employee object actually. So let me go to the assignment object and go to the field, which is the employee field, right? You want to put the filter on this field, right? Choose the field, click on edit. Yeah. So on this field, you will see there is this option of lookup filter. So currently there are no filters. You want to put the filter, so click on this show filter settings. Okay. Now you just have to put your criteria here, that where assign skill equals employee skill. Save. Correct. Now if we try to create a record, you put the lookup filter there. Now if I try to create a record here, sorry. Now if I try to create a new assignment, see, it says it depends on skill. Choose Java. It will only show you records where the employee is having the same skill as Java. If you choose HTML, it will only show you the options where the employee is having the same skill. Alright, so that's how this lookup filter thing will work. In case you want this kind of a criteria to be applicable, in case you want this thing to be applicable, you can actually put that criteria. At the time of creating the lookup field also you can put it, or you later on you can just go to the lookup field and you can edit that. Fine. Okay. So that's how you can actually edit your fields, okay, as per your requirement, right? Okay. So that's what we'll be discussing in the session today. Now let me know if anyone has got any questions.